Just what would a win do for Oklahoma against Ole Miss this weekend at Gaylord Family Memorial Stadium, aka Owen Field, aka you don't want to play at OU? Or what might happen if OU loses this game to Ole Miss? And are they out of the college football playoff? Either one of these teams with a loss. What's up, kid folk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching, adapt and respond. Thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. Do you think that a loss for Ole Miss or Oklahoma removes them from the college football playoff conversation, as we're gone to 12 teams with straight seeding, and the SEC looks like the best conference in football? 10 of the AP's top 25 are in the SEC alone, and these are two of them. Number 13, Oklahoma, number 8, Ole Miss, each with a loss. For Oklahoma, it's kind of wishy-washy with Texas being a preseason number 1 team, but being just the 20s after a loss, or excuse me, after a close win against Kentucky, but with losses to Florida, who fired their head coach just Sunday, and of course that loss to the unmatched Ohio State Buckeyes. Meanwhile, Ole Miss has the loss to Georgia on the road, and you feel better about that one if you are a voter, or you're me, who you're ranking these teams based on pedigree, based on personnel, based on head-to-heads, and just what you think they're capable of in a postseason. Now, I find this game to be quite interesting for a number of reasons, and we'll get into that. But first off the rip, it's for me that we're talking about an Ole Miss program that is going to come in as the number 8 team in the country as a 4.5-point dog. And this is a great way for me to get into. We partner with my bookie here on the show, and if you are interested in betting, making a wager, in-game lines, spreads, player props, they have all of that for you at mybookie.ag. And if you use the promo code that is my name, RJ Young, all caps, all one word, they will cover up to $500 of your first initial bet. But just if you miss, if you lose, you get to use the bet back bonus token and play again. They'll make you whole up to $500 if you use the promo code that is RJ Young, all one word. It is in the description below. And again, my bookie makes Oklahoma a 4.5-point favorite to win this game, and makes Ole Miss a 4.5-point dog in this game. And I think that is interesting for me because we're talking about two offenses that really can move the football when they're humming. And Oklahoma hasn't been humming as an offense since John Mateer finished against Auburn. I was going to say broke his hand, but he broke his hand and they played a great game, and he played well, 271 passing yards in that game. And he was accurate, he completed 14 to 16 of his passes. That's make him accurate. As you are watching Oklahoma and John Mateer, you're going, I don't always know where this football is going to go. Meanwhile, on the other side, Trinidad Chambliss has been outstanding. Transfer from Ferris State, comes in after Austin Simmons gets an ankle injury, and he's been playing lights out, man. He's averaging 221 pass yards per game, while John Mateer is averaging 261.2. But both of these guys are tremendous making plays. They are point guards on the field. They are going to beat you with their legs, going to beat you with their arms, and they're going to have wide receivers to stretch the field. More so at Ole Miss than at Oklahoma, and that might be the edge. They also got a better run game at Ole Miss. And Georgia stopping that run game was the reason it was able to win. Kewan Lacey's averaging 88.3 yards per game, and that's pretty damn good. Harrison Wallace is also good. They got guys all over for the first time in some time that can catch the football at Ole Miss. It used to be 1 or 2 guys you had to really rely on. Now you got 4, sometimes 5 guys you can expect to catch the football, which means that Brent Venables is going to have his work cut out for him trying to stop this Ole Miss offense that looks a lot like the kind of Lincoln Riley offenses that Oklahoma used to run, and frankly, the kind of Lincoln Riley offenses that Brent Venables used to stop. So we're talking about a low-scoring team, all things relatively considered, because Oklahoma scores about 29 points per game, 28.7. That's 117th in the country, while Ole Miss scores 37.4. And even against the Dogs, they scored 35, and it took 43 to beat them. You're also talking about an Ole Miss team that is averaging 492 yards per game, and they're doing that against SEC competition. Oklahoma's at 379. And third down efficiency. If Ole Miss gets in the third down, they're probably going to convert. They're 51.7% conversion rate on third down. That is ridiculous. Top 100 in all these categories. Top 11 in total offense. Number 14 in total pass yards per game. And even running the football, they're good. 187.7 yards per game on the ground. Balanced. They can beat you in a lot of different ways. And save that one loss to Georgia, they felt like one of those teams that be contending. I could just as easily have seen Ole Miss get off to a 7-0 start as we have Texas A&M. Meanwhile, Oklahoma has really changed how some people are viewing them as they started unranked in the coaches poll. Number 18 in the preseason AP Top 25, rose all the way up to 5 before taking that loss to Texas, and they dropped the spot before that, but that was to number 6, not really that big a deal. I think as we're looking at these one-loss teams in the SEC, and we're talking about 10 teams right now that still have an opportunity to make the college football playoff based on the rankings and how these things can play out. Like we might have some tiebreakers that put an end to just how many of those teams can get in based on who you beat. But I think Oklahoma needs this win a little bit more than Ole Miss does because we don't know what to do with Texas. If Texas runs the table, perhaps beats A&M at the end and maybe backdoors in the SEC championship game, and Oklahoma's still a 2-loss team, maybe you can say that they get in because they've got all these ranked wins. They would have a ranked win against Michigan, a ranked win against Auburn, and then if they take this loss to Ole Miss, they'd have to beat all the ranked opponents left on the schedule. They got 5 of those. For Ole Miss, it's more about can you get yourself back into the SEC championship game conversation, because they still have that to play for. Now, both of these teams got an SEC loss, but I'm looking at what Ole Miss has got left, and it's really not much of anything. Oklahoma's the toughest team they play the rest of the way. Full stop. They got South Carolina, the Citadel, Florida, a bye, and then Mississippi State. So you got OU, who's good, South Carolina, who's not, Citadel, who's the Citadel, Florida, who just fired Billy Napier, Mississippi State, who barely lost to Florida, who fired their head coach after a win. I think that they've got a really sweetheart way to get into the college football playoff. They can be right there. They can do what Oregon's going to do, I think, in the Big Ten, which is just ride the wave and be a one-loss team that gets selected for the college football playoff. For Oklahoma, it's not that simple. You got to beat all good teams. You got to beat good teams the rest of the way, and there are good teams. So Ole Miss is a good team. Tennessee, number 17, that's a good team. A bye, and then Alabama, who might be the best team in the SEC, all things considered, with the win at Sanford and the win against Tennessee, even as A&M is undefeated. Missouri is a good team. LSU is a good team. It's about to get real thick for Oklahoma, but the defense is where you can make some adjustments here, right? The defense is not turning the ball over, for instance, but the defense is also taking the ball away. So if you can do that against Ole Miss, you have an opportunity to give John Mateer, Torrey Blaylock, Jared Kanik, Deion Burks, Deontay Lewis, an opportunity to go get you some wins. Otherwise, it's going to be really difficult for Oklahoma to make the college football playoff this year, even as both these guys, for me, were Heisman candidates up until their losses. We'll see what they can do against each other. And this game being at OU is not to be overlooked. It's a tough place to come and win games. Just ask Auburn and Michigan about that.